Hey guys, and welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed the previous video where I talked about the best characters in the game. If you haven't seen it, I'll leave that down below in the description for you to check it out. It was on the other channel, but anyways, if you guys are interested in subscribing and helping me grow on this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so we can monetize here. We also publish a ton over on Twitch. Link is down below in the description, so check it out. All right, so the piece that you guys are going to watch was actually an excerpt from the other video. It was just going to be a 30-minute video that I was like, nah, that's too damn long. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it down. So in this video, I will be covering specifically the SSR weapons for Jinwoo specifically. All right, so just the top row there. Jinwoo does have other SR weapons, and quick note on those really quick. I'm not going to tell you which one's the best because I haven't really sat there and thought about them yet. He's got a lot of SR weapons, my goodness. Anyway, quick note is if you can get some of these with a lot of limit breaks, they are going to be really strong, particularly in the early game. Like if you got this one a bunch of times or whatever the case is, it probably will be better for you than some of the other SSR ones. So you'd have to make some interesting decisions with that. So keep that in mind. And there are, again, all these other SSR weapons for the other hunters. However, these guys also only really have one option per character right now, if I remember correctly. So there's not really much debate here, so not much point of really talking about that too much. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to focus on the 6 SSR weapons currently available for Jinwoo at launch of the game. And if you want to see the best SSR hunters, again, when you finish this, on the screen you'll see a little pop-up you guys can click on to get to that other video that I produced on my other channel. All right, let's hop right in. All right, so when it comes to the weapons, I've got to say that there is a case to be made that all of them are good for their own reasons. And one of the big reasons why you would want certain ones, honestly, obviously, you want to have all of them. But the reason why is because they do have different elemental types of damage. And so depending on the content you're going to take on, that may be more relevant, as you can imagine. So just speaking about things bluntly, a lot of them are really good and they do a lot of different things, but one that really stood out to me was Vulcan's Rage. Now, what happens here is you have this like club or whatever it is, and Jinwoo is able to use this, and I like the area of effect on this hit. The second hit here, it is a nice roundhouse attack here. I like that. And then the last one here, again, a big hitting move that hits a lot of targets, does a lot of damage as well. So the way that this one works is it also grants him a shield. So applies a shield equal to 5% of the user's attack, and when the user uses basic attacks or core attacks, it applies a concentration effect, and that lasts for 10 seconds. Concentration is when the duration of the previous effect, Vulcan's Blessing, which was the shield effect, right? When that is over, it explodes and deals damage equal to 300% of the user's attack, stacking up to 30 times. And when it explodes, it deals additional 6% damage per instance of concentration. And when Vulcan's Blessing explodes, it removes all concentration effects. So basically, when you have this weapon and you're using those basic attacks, you are going to be in a position where you are going to be stacking a lot of concentrations, and then ultimately those concentrations are going to explode for a big chunk of damage. All the while you're going to be doing big swinging hits, and you're going to be picking up a shield. So I really like this weapon. Now, all of these weapons are going to get much better as you start unlocking limit breaks on them. As you see here, look at the next passive. When Vulcan's Blessing explodes, it applies Rage, and Rage is also an increase to the user's attack by 12% and attack speed. So like, this thing gets really versatile, and all of them really do as you go through. So another one that I really liked was this one. This one has a little bit more of a mid-range playstyle. A lot of the weapons are kind of close range, but this one has more of a mid-range playstyle, as you see here. So that's cool. I also really like the twin dragon animation popping up here. A lot of the attacks have similar modifiers for how much damage they're going to do, or various things like that. The MP cost, etc. It just kind of depends. It's not too different between them. This one, though, is kind of interesting because it does only really one thing, but it's very strong. So when water spray hits, which is the skill, has a 100% chance to inflict cold ice effect on the target. Cold ice is an effect that interrupts the target, and when the effect ends, it deals additional damage equal to 10% of damage taken during the duration, which is only 4 seconds currently. So you want to spam as much damage as you can do within 4 seconds. They'll take extra damage for that. But interrupting their actions like that with the freezing abilities is super duper strong. I don't know which character it is, but I have a support character that does something similar. And she was doing that for me, and it was just super duper useful. Oh, this chick right here, Nam Chaeyoung. I do not remember this chick at all from the series. I do not. But her support skill, wherever it is, where she was doing that, is super duper strong. So actually, it says freezes. Well, no, it has the same text though. It says it interrupts. So I'd assume that they work exactly the same. All right, let's go ahead and go back over to the weapons, and let's talk about the Demon King's longsword. This one is also really awesome, actually. So this weapon actually has a counter in it, which is different than the ones that we've looked at so far. With this attack here, the lightning attack, the skill, he holds out the sword for a counter and then strikes back after that. So that obviously has a ton of utility for a player. And we go ahead and take a look at the skills for this. This one is also really interesting. So when the counter skill lightning is activated, it applies a shield, and the user performs a counter attack like we talked about. A stun and Storm of the Flames effect are applied upon a successful counter. So if you land the counter where he's shielding it, right? You saw it there. So he gets a literal shield debuff, and he does the, like you can see it right here. There's a shield around him. And then he also does the, the stance there in the very beginning. So when he triggers that, multiple other things wind up happening. So what happens is, for the shield, let's explain that. Creates a shield equal to 10% of the user's max HP for 3 seconds. A stun immobilizes the target for 3 seconds. So he's going to do a stun and Storm of the White Flames effect when he successfully lands the counter. So when he lands the counter, they're going to get stunned, and then this other effect, Storm of White Flames, is going to activate. It increases the user's attack by 8%, creates a lightning that deals damage equal to 100% of the user's attack in nearby areas every second. So extremely strong effect. This one is kind of interesting too, because I have to go back and look at it, but it looks like it's kind of dual element. Because he's doing a lot of wind-based stuff, but I guess it's just called lightning. It's not doing any lightning type of damage. Just look like it's just doing wind damage. But nonetheless, it's really, really strong. I like it a lot. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the last weapon, and that's going to be the Shadow Scythe. This one probably fits him the best in terms of like it being a shadow-based one. This one is really, really cool. So Jinwoo, let's go ahead and look at the skill here. Slashes his scythe rapidly, with the skill button being held. So you just press and hold the button. Look what he does. He goes crazy with it. That is so, so, so cool. All right. Now for the skill. When using Essence Harvest, which would be that skill that you hold down, right? Yeah, that one. When using that skill, it consumes 5% of the current HP and increases skill damage by 100%. So this one basically drains your life and converts it into damage. Now, I would personally stray away from this unless you have limit breaks in it. By default, it only doing that is kind of underwhelming, but it probably has the highest peak of damage because of that, especially as you get Jinwoo higher in level to where he's got a higher HP threshold. Consuming 5% of the life is going to be really strong for the overall. No, it doesn't convert that, actually. Never mind. It just winds up not being as much of a problem, I guess, as you got more HP. So the next one, though, if the user's current HP is 70% or below, the Edge of Darkness is applied, which then increases the user's critical hit rate by 25%. That going up with all those hits is pretty strong. That was real. All those hits with the increase of crits is going to be insane. That's going to be crazy. So that one there, again, so we've seen, I guess this video can be broken down a couple of different ways, because we've now seen a couple of ones that are really, really strong for like just whether you have limit breaks in them or not, right? Some of them, they're all better with it, but some of them function a little bit better with what their core objective is without having it. I didn't talk about these two, not because they're bad, they're good, but just for different reasons. I didn't care as much about them, but this one has a very high damage threshold with the crit damage buff being applied here, along with crit rate in full bloom. It's just a little bit more of a finicky playstyle, but really, really strong weapon. And this one kind of reminded me of Zombie Man in terms of like from One Punch Man world being a close range gun weapon, which is totally interesting. Anyway, so if you're keeping tabs at home, the ones I really, really like from the weapon list for him are Vulcan's Rage and Thetis's Grimoire. I like the other ones as well that I mentioned towards the end, but I really, really like those two because of the utility with them, giving shields, stuff like that. Oh yeah, the Demon King's Longsword with the shield encounter. That one I think is probably the hardest one to use, probably either that or the other sword. But I really, really like those.